live look from Naples, Florida, which is kind of on the southern edge of that bullseye that we're watching in terms of hurricane damage and the surge that's going to happen there, the storm surge.
Absolutely. And and we had some questions earlier about you could see a little bit of sun in the clouds there. That's not the eye. Naples is far away from the eye, but it doesn't matter how close you are to the eye in that part of Florida. You're going to get lots of water, you're going to get lots of wind and
seeing it in that shot right there.
Absolutely.
The waves picking up.
Yeah, storm surge is easily going to be around 12 feet along that part of the coast too. So it is going to be a mess down there. We actually do have a couple of videos of tornadoes, and here's just one of them. And this is obviously sped up a little bit, but this was from down in parts of Florida as well. But it was moving very quickly. We had some of these outer rain bands from this storm, and it just started putting out all kinds of tornadoes all at once as well. And this is just one of them. But we also had a few wedge tornadoes that I was seeing just kind of all over the internet. You could easily find them, but this one sent in from Greg. This is South Florida, and that is a wedge tornado. That's something you would typically see in parts of Oklahoma, but this is all happening in Florida. So they've got the hurricane, they've got the tornadoes, they've got the storm surge, they've got the rain, they've got the wind. Right now, we do not have any tornado warnings that are ongoing. That rain band is starting to move off towards the coast, but now we're waiting for the eye to finally make landfall, but that should happen sometime later this evening as a Category 3, eventually weakening overnight tonight, but still very much a hurricane Category 1, which is strong enough. And eventually by tomorrow afternoon, it should weaken and move off the coast. But right now, still producing wind gusts as high as around 150 miles an hour as it tracks off to the north and east. So later this weekend, eventually it's going to go away, but the damage will not. So again, we're talking just south of St. Petersburg all the way down to just north of Fort Myers. That's where we're expecting to see that 12-foot plus storm surge. We have hundreds of thousands of customers without power right now, and the hurricane hasn't even made landfall yet. So you can only imagine what it's going to be like eventually. Here at home, much quieter. We do have a couple of light rain showers across far western Oklahoma, and even some of it may not even actually be hitting the ground because it's kind of dry at the surface. So at best, we're looking at a few sprinkles from Freedom down towards just north of Hobart, it looks like. This is our Oklahoma City camera. This is our Integris camera, part of our Lucky Star SkyCam network, but 82 degrees still even at this hour as the sun begins to set. We're at 88 in Enid, 85 in Minco, 86 degrees in Chickasha, 84 right now in Chandler. We are still sitting at 94 in Altus, 89 in Clinton, and 88 degrees in Alva. There's your south wind between about 10 to 20 miles an hour, so a little breezy for central and western Oklahoma. We do have this weak wave moving through right now. We're going to continue to at least keep a chance of some light rain in parts of the state, not only this evening, but overnight tonight and into tomorrow. Outside of that, above average. We're staying above average. Temperatures will be staying very warm in the 80s, and even by Saturday, we are still looking at the 90s, moving back in. So near record heat, but that doesn't last forever. We do have a cold front on the way. That's going to be moving in by the time we get into Sunday morning. So Sunday afternoon, it's not going to be as hot, still warm, highs in the 80s, but by the time we get into Monday, we're dropping down into the 70s, and then after that, 60s for a couple of days before we warm back up for the following weekend. But when I say warming back up, we're talking about temperatures just moving back into the 70s and maybe 80s. Tonight, though, a slight chance of some isolated showers and storms in central, northern, and western Oklahoma. The far south, we're going to miss out on those chances tonight. Temperatures drop down into the low to mid 60s, about 60 in Harris, 64 in Edmond, 64 degrees in Yukon, I think 61 at the OKC airport, 60 degrees in Ponca City, the upper 50s in the far northwest. And then tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be quite warm again, back in the mid 80s, which is about 10 degrees above normal. 85 in Guthrie, 87 in Kingfisher, and 86 tomorrow afternoon in Tuttle. 95 though in Lawton, 90 degrees in Altus, upper 80s around Clinton and Hobart. Tomorrow during the day, there's still going to be that slight chance of an isolated shower pretty much anywhere in the state. But by Friday morning, those chances start to move basically along and south of I-40. Still pretty low chances. Friday afternoon, we're in the upper 80s with the 90s all across western Oklahoma, but 90s move into central Oklahoma for your Saturday. If you happen to be going down to Dallas, it's going to be hot there too. Kickoff, low 90s, halftime, mid 90s, and by fourth quarter, only dropping into the low 90s. 9-day forecast showing better weather, cooler weather is still on the way for next week. Carl, back to you.